If one of your dreams is to make a scientific breakthrough, I guess I have some bad news and good news. The bad news is that there is no single recipe. There isn't a thing that you can just do and then make a very important discovery. But there are many things that are common to most very important discoveries. And many of these things will be important for you to enjoy the ride, even if at the end you don't discover what dark energy is or what it's doing. Perhaps the most important point, and something that I would definitely encourage you to keep doing as you move in your degree and your life, is to always dare to question. So don't be afraid to question. And many times, actually, when you don't understand something, it's not because you're dumb. And many people in any audience will probably not understand it either, but it's very likely that people will not be brave enough to actually ask a simple question. Sometimes those questions that can be perceived as naive are crucial to actually make a breakthrough. The other thing that's important to really understand is that there's really no such thing as being a genius. I don't know anyone that has made a very important contribution, discovery, or that knows things really well without their passion and working really hard. This idea that things just come out of the sky is complete nonsense. There are many other things you can try if you want to follow this path, such as not taking anything for granted, always questioning the assumptions, taking risks in terms of exploring paths that no one actually explored before, and the importance, I would say, of resilience and not giving up, especially if it's something you're really passionate about and you get better and better at it. You really shouldn't be giving up, but you should always try to get people around you that are supportive and with which you can discuss your hypothesis. Finally, it's really, really important to not be afraid to be wrong. Ultimately, we're all wrong, and science is all wrong. But the beauty about science is that we can make the wrongs slightly more right at each step. Every time we find out the errors and mistakes and flaws, we can actually get to something that works better. Even if it's still wrong, it's not as wrong as the previous step. There are plenty of good news for your generation in case you're interested in pursuing astronomy and astrophysics. And this is for a lot of different reasons. On one hand, in the 2020s, the decade that we're now in, there will be a new generation of telescopes, both in space. This is Euclid. It's kind of a Hubble-like telescope, but it sees a very wide field of view that will be able to survey almost the entire universe from space. And also LSST, or the Very Rubin telescope, that has been named, is an 8-meter telescope that will also have the largest field of view ever from the ground, and that will be able to scan the entire night sky almost every night. So this will lead to a huge revolution in transit astronomy, for example, and discovering things that change with periods of about 1 day, but that are also really faint. On top of telescopes that will have wide fields of view and that will be able to make new discoveries, perhaps new classes of sources that we were unaware of, there's also telescopes going online and start working from space. This is JWST, the most expensive telescope ever built, that should be launched this year at the end of October. But also the ELT that's well underway and in construction in Chile. So it will not be constructed in Egypt. This is just for scale. But if you compare it with some of the largest telescopes that exist now, or even with the pyramids, you can really get the sense of scale of what a telescope with about 40 meters of diameter will be doing. And also, if you compare one of these 8-meter telescopes, they actually fit in one of the focus of the 40-meter telescope. This is how big the 40-meter mirror will actually be.